Hi, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to this week's book tour interview. Today's guest is author Puviyal Sri, here to talk about her delightful children's book, The Adventures of Cookie and Were-Rabbit. Filled with fun, friendship, and gentle life lessons, the book follows Cookie and Were-Rabbit on their exciting adventures, where they encounter the mischievous Snowy and Doggo along the way. Hi, Puviyal, and thank you so much for joining me
Hello.
today.
Thank you for having me.
A pleasure.
Yes.
Now, you very kindly agreed to answer some questions for us.
Right.
So I'd like to start by asking you, The Adventures of Cookie and Were-Rabbit was inspired by your daughter and your own family pets. So at what
Yes.
point did you realise that these real-life characters could become the stars of a children's book?
Right. All right. So first, it started when I found myself expecting my daughter, and one thing, and I started planning for the baby, and one thing I knew was I was going to read stories to her. It's like I was so excited. I get books to read for, and then so that was always there. I was excited. And a couple of months down the road, this a little Shih Tzu poodle, which we named Cookie, was lost and abandoned, and we thought, okay, actually, he showed up at the house. Is he was sneaking in to steal food from Snowy and Doggo, already existing dogs. So we found out after a few days. So we rescued him, brought him in, named him Cookie, tried to give him a bath. He was a bit of stubborn little dog and had his own personality. He was like angry, stubborn, but hey, I've got my own way. And so we rescued him. And mysteriously, if you notice at the front cover of my book, there's a red motorcycle. While Cookie was with us, there was a red motorcycle outside the house under the mango tree. Where it came from, until today, we don't know. So Cookie, see, Snowy Doggo used to bother Cookie a lot. They would come and disturb him and won't let him be. So Cookie, I think probably angry or whatever, he left the house. He somehow found a way and escaped. But when he left, the motorcycle disappeared. So so my brother and I were talking, and then we jokingly said probably got on the bike and sped off because he couldn't take Snowy and Dogo. So that's how the story kind of came up. We started making stories based off that. And then I thought, hey, I wanted to read stories for my daughter. Why not a story written by myself for her? And then I started writing, and that's how I came up with the stories. Yeah.
Oh, I love that
That's when I
story.
thought, hey, they could be stars of a story, right?
Fantastic. And Cookie, Snowy, and Doggo are all based on your own dogs. So how much of their real-life personalities made it into the stories?
Yes, okay, almost 99%. Okay, Snowy is kind of the rabble rouser, I would say, that starts the chaos and Dogo follows. All right, if you're going to disturb, I'm going to disturb, they'll start. And so when Cookie was there, these two always bother him. He'll put them, he'll growl at them, walk away. And then Were Rabbit, I created the character. And I thought, well, Were Rabbit and Cookie, they seem to, they could be a team. And the other two, it's very accurate as to their characteristics. The personalities is on point. It's exactly how my dogs.
Oh,
Yes.
fantastic. And each of your adventures carries a gentle moral lesson about kindness, boundaries, and learning from mistakes. How important was it for you to include these messages while still keeping the stories fun and entertaining?
Yes, of course, to me it was very important because at the time I started writing and went for printing and all that. My daughter was around 2, 3 years old, and she would display characters of trying to prank someone, trying to scare someone, or taking things away and hiding. So I could relate to, okay, kids could relate to this little thing somehow some way along growing up, their process of growing up they would be able to relate to these little characteristics. So they read like, hey, I sometimes do that. Probably I want to prank a friend, scare a friend. Sometimes it might cross a boundary and hurt someone or cause I'm upset. And then it's okay. It's all right. It's okay to make mistakes, but be brave. You can be brave enough to go and say sorry, apologize, and then you could still work together and still have fun together without crossing boundaries. Yeah. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's what I thought it's just got a moral lesson for them.
Yeah,
The
it's
problem
a
of
good
making,
lesson.
yeah,
Now, your
yeah.
book also comes with a free colouring book which features your characters. What made you decide to include that extra creative element for young readers?
Really, to unleash their creativity. Because, okay, example, like Cookie wears a red jacket, right?
Mhm.
So they could color it purple if they wanted to, and they could relate to characters. Yeah, go ahead, be free with the characters. They probably could, as they color, they'll identify the characters and, they'll have fun, not just reading, but coloring as well. So all kids love colors. So I
Yeah,
came
it's a
up
great
with.
idea. And what would you say to parents, grandparents, and young readers who are considering picking up The Adventures of Cookie and Were Rabbit?
Oh, I would say to them, yes, please do pick it up. I would love to bring that warmth of friendships and excitement of journeys and learning, to say sorry, learning from mistakes, it's fine. And all these little lessons to bring home to your child that you're buying the book for. So I'd say, yeah, do pick up the book and, give it a chance.
Agreed. Oh, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
answering my questions, Puviyal, and
Welcome,
sharing more about
Michelle.
the. Oh, thank you. It's been lovely. And you've shared some more about
It's
your
been lovely.
book. It's been lovely hearing more about the story behind it and the real life inspiration. Now, if you'd like to get your hands on a special signed copy of The Adventures of Cookie and Were Rabbit, it will be showcased in the book at Chapters and Chai on Stockton-on-Tees High Street on Friday, the 7th of August between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. We'd absolutely love to see you there. Thanks again, Puviyal.
Thank you, Michelle.